and the ancestors are looking out for us. God haze is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young.
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young.
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Shalom alaikum.
Young TV.
For everything it's worth, take that to the bank because you're going to be well paid. You already did the work.
You don't mean money-wise, huh?
I said you already did the work. Now you gotta go. The only way that you can get paid out on the experience is when the losses become the lessons, and then all of the L's flip to sevens for jackpots. You the only one can milk that. It's the only, you got your own bank.
See, I'm not following you on that one.
It's energy. By going back over everything you learned, the more things that you suddenly realize that you've learned, that's flipping the L into the seven.
Yeah, sometimes I have blind spots on just like that, where you were talking about that was a training ground. I had no idea. I literally was just trying to help people. That was my only goal. I didn't even take money for readings or anything. Mm-hmm. I never made one dime off of a reading. Yeah. But
it was only training.
Huh?
It was only training. Look, Michael Jordan, if he didn't never practice, he would have never been Michael Jordan.
Sorry.
If Kobe Bryant did never go to practice,
Michael Jordan in my readings, I was like,
yeah,
what?
You can't be good at something without practicing it because you got to know how to do it.
True. But like I said,
you're
I was
not
a good
born knowing how to do nothing.
I wasn't a good terrorist, huh?
You're not born automatically knowing how to do nothing. You got to learn everything.
Well, yeah.
That's why everything is stretched out in the bracket of time. Because now, if you break the time into segments, you can break your life into 7-year increments. Some people would be 5 years, some people would be 6 years. But you'll notice that these increments have a common denominator. You know, you go through a process of learning for a period of time, then you run into where everything that you learn is being tested by life. When you reflect back on your life and you begin to see that, you begin to graduate from each one of those degrees up to now. And now
like a level.
So now you got more tools in your resources of survival of the 3-dimensional fixed mind matrix. Now you have more tools to open more doors, or as they say, more keys.
More training grounds.
Yeah. And the more you know, the further you go. They say leaders our readers, the only thing a reader does is look at something from another person's perspective. And the more people perspective, the more you master the perspective of the 360-degree cycles of the hologram. You see from every single position, or at least 360, that's going to open up your perception to see 720 as above, so below. 360 on the ground, 360 in the sky. Just like when you read the tarot cards and then somebody else come along and read the astrology, and you tell one person the same thing, they at the center of the hourglass.
Is there a reason why I would be very poor in grasping astrology? I've even looked at like the houses and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the few topics that doesn't stick in my brain. Like I can't recall it and go do like I do other things.
It's because you're not really interested.
Oh,
Anything you're truly interested in, the interest is what makes you pay attention. That's why we be all fucking up in school. Nobody care about that bullshit they writing on chalkboard.
I
Seriously,
wasn't like
even with
this.
the kids. I mean, seriously. It's the same with life. When you become an adult and you try to do something that you're not really interested in,
Yeah.
you half-ass it. After a while, you be like, this shit ain't for me. Because I can't
Yeah.
put my all into it, so I can't get nothing out of it. Yeah.
And I always felt like astrology was more of a bigger picture and longer term than a tarot reading. A tarot reading was, you know, I don't know. It just seemed like it was more action based. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
describe it.
Yeah, the difference is you're looking at it from an overhead view versus looking at it from a street view.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And I like the street view better than the overview.
That's the moon magic. Because the moon magic is directly tied to the earth frequency. In order to harness the women's energy with this menstrual cycle bullshit. It's all tied together. It's part of a slave system of holographic projections to control people and keep them from remembering that they was already here.
Is it possible for that to go away at some point, that moon?
You gotta, the moon, that motherfucker might drive off any day. It don't need to be there.
Okay. All right.
Just,
Yeah, because
just
I
remember
have a
this.
feeling it
The
won't be.
lens of the projector, you can watch the movie in it too. Now,
Say that again?
you can watch the movie from the lens of the projector. What I mean by that, right?
Is that an actual movie? Because I don't watch movies.
Mm-mm. Back in the day, they used to have what's called movie theaters. In the movie theater, is playing a movie on the screen, but it's a projector behind everybody projecting the movie to the screen.
Oh, yeah, I'm old enough for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
now, if you look back at the projector, you can see the movie playing in the lens.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Now, for some strange reason, Earth is in the moon.
The
Yeah,
reflection, the continents and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I thought the moon was reflecting the sun.
It doesn't seem to be reflecting anything.
Well, why can you see the layout of Earth on the moon?
Isn't the Have you ever seen them take that holograph thing where they put it down here and then you see it up here?
Yeah, but it's not a hologram because it's been there for thousands of years. People that draw the moon been drawing the reflection of the Earth on the moon ever since they've been drawing the moon. The moon haven't always been there.
So the moon is reflecting the Earth, is what you're saying, or is the Earth reflecting the moon?
The moon is projected to the hologram that keeps you locked in the mind trap.
Oh, I see. So it's coming down like this.
Right. But
Oh, you
now,
can
in
see.
order for that to be true, you need what's called a north-south projection
Pull it.
mechanism that goes around the Earth. It would have to go in order for the hologram to be projected. In order
Isn't that when you
for
were talking about they're supposed to be able to touch, but they don't, or something?
yeah,
You were talking about that on something else.
yeah, that was the Dark Knight satellite. That's the second
That's
lens
interesting.
that a
I haven't
projector.
even watched the documentary on it.
Yeah. So somebody got a computer using artificial intelligence, using the moon and the Dark Knight satellite to hijack the minds of the people. It's been turned off. When they wake up, they be in what's called the fifth dimension, which is the spiritual self being able to see through all of the bullshit in the 3D world instantly. And you'll be
Wouldn't
able
that
to
jack with
adjust
time?
accordingly. Huh?
If that's turned off, wouldn't that jack with time?
Kind of. We used to live in what was called the Septepi, the forever time. Now we don't live in the forever time. We live in what's called the time of mortality, or the Great Kali Yuga, the sleep age of the gods. When the
So the
guys wake,
Mahorte,
yeah, so the guys wake up and realize they was just asleep.
so but isn't there a theory? Because I didn't watch the documentary on the Black Knight satellite, but I caught a few things. Isn't there a theory that the Anunnaki or the Anunnaki or whatever they call the new keep tabs on this planet with that satellite?
Yeah, that's called the Eye of Enki. I mean, the Eye of Enlil. The Eye of
Okay.
Enki, the Eye of Enki is on the ground. It's called the Yoni of the Earth. It's in South Africa on
The
Zululand. The Eye of Enki. The Eye of Enlil is in the sky, what we call today a satellite. They didn't call them satellites back then because they didn't speak modern English. So they
Is
called,
that parallel to the Eye of Horus and the Eye of Tahuti?
it's the Ujet and the Uraeus, the Eye of Osiris and the Eye of Isis, because Osiris gave Isis one of his eyes. He actually gave it to, I think it was Hathor, because Hathor is the first heir to the Isis seat. And then she gave it to her son, which was Heru.
Okay.
Then it became known as the Eye of Horus. But
I
both
see.
of them was the two eyes of Osiris, I mean of Ra at one time. Then
Or Ray.
it's a potato,
Oh, okay.
tomato. And the two eyes, it symbolizes as two different perspectives of view. It's the knowledge and the wisdom. So they come out master of the earth realm, the 3D, the lower realm, the lower nature, the vulture
Right.
on one side of your crown. The higher nature, the noble character, the way of the wise, comes out as the cobra, the hood.
Yeah,
Cobra.
but that's the on this plane. That's what people call it mythology, but it would be like a spirituality, I guess, or an explanation of a process. But is there some parallel to the two other eyes that you were talking about?
They are from two different cultural perspectives.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I thought Enlil was a. Well, I guess that would still make sense too.
The word Enlil means Lord of the sky. En means Lord. Enki means Lord of the earth.
Oh, okay.
And the eye of Enlil, the Dark Knight satellite, because Enlil was the leader of the air fleet in the Anunnaki tale. So it became known as the Eye of Enlil, but it was just a satellite. They just didn't use the word satellite because that's a modern word. But when we
There's no
translated
feminine
the ancient
aspect there.
tongue, they described the satellite and then they give it a name and call it the Eye of Enlil. And on the earth, because Enki is the earth key. It is the what they call the primate key, which is the father key, right? And you need a master's grip to hold the key. You need a special frequency to release the sword from the stone in order to pull the cross out the ground. In order to break the sacrifice and free the people, you pull your weapon, King Arthur's sword, right? It's metaphors, it's mythology, mythology. It's the mysteries of the ancients woven to the tales of mystery and mysticism as mythology in order to separate it from their story near theology and theocracies ran as republics and democracies to deceive the people. You have to have the mysteries and the mythologies to unravel all of the theological bullshit. And that's why it continues through history with the same ancient stories and why we keep telling them if we don't need them. Because anything that outwears its use in the realm of the human is no longer used. Our 50-foot self is no longer of value because of the shifting of the earth. We'd be too big, too slow, too sluggish. We would die out. We upgrade, so we downsized. We went from 13 strands of a whole bunch of bulky 57 Chevy to the 2-strand streamliner Lamborghini Diablo. Genetically, in order to facilitate the transfer. All of Earth history is still on the Earth in stratas and layers and carryovers from bygone ages. We don't need the artifacts. We need to read the artifacts in order to know what already worked and what already didn't work. All we're trying to do is improve on the root base of humanity in order for the knowledge to increase the productivity of humans, and then they'll begin to produce heaven on earth and bypass the wickedness of digging in the ground and burying people. There's a difference.
Yeah, but I would say that way of thinking, like what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
that would probably not be the way that a majority of the consciousness on the planet is thinking.
I know. Just like you gave the perfect description of being a Magdala priestess, but you don't know nothing about Magdala priestess. How can you give the exact description and never know what it is?
Because I'm already
Instinct.
that.
You already that. That you don't have to become. And as a Magdala priestess, your ability to manipulate reality is way more advanced than regular people by birthright. You inherited that because it's in your bloodline, or you wouldn't have knew it. You wouldn't have no interest in it. You got to remember who you is and accept who you is because you're powerful as hell. You contributing to the progression in the evolution of the golden age. It's millions of y'all on the planet right now, and it's normally only a couple of 100,000. Y'all came for great change. So you have to dig into the self in order to see your ability to facilitate great change. And then rest in that energy and let it take its course. Don't fight it.
If what you just said is true, then that's probably a problem for some people.
Why would you give
I'm
it
not
to
sure
them?
I agree with that,
If,
but because
if,
you're
it,
way more generous than I am, I'll tell you
listen,
that.
if somebody else have a problem with you living your purpose, fuck them.
Oh no, I'm not worried about him. I'm just saying, like, if there's a lot of us and we're on this train of thought, some of these people ain't gonna make it, man.
I done already been telling them. When y'all turn on and y'all all sync, a whole bunch of motherfuckers ain't gonna make it. Because that's when the solar flare gonna flash the earth, and then the earth is gonna flash the people. with a Schumann resonance,
Yeah,
and a whole bunch of people, mitochondrial is going to be turned to the off position.
I've seen that. I mean, I've seen that.
I've been telling them for
Not
years.
kidding.
I didn't just
You
make this up.
you know that movie? I don't know. I don't remember the name of the movie. I just saw like a small clip of it, and then I went to the movie database and looked up to see what it was and got the synopsis. It was a Bruce Willis movie where a bunch of people just fell out on the ground.
Hmm.
I haven't watched the movie, but when I saw it, I instantly went, "Oh shit, that's gonna happen," because I'd already seen it.
Yeah, that's the time. That's what's called the great shift, the timeline shift. The timeline under the old system was geared for the destruction of all of Earth and all of humanity. The timeline of the Aquarian age is shifted to the golden age and great abundance for the people on Earth. So when the timeline shift, some people didn't get it immediately and got snatched back later. This all plays out symbolically as people being snatched through the timelines because some people got it later than others and they made it out just before the great destruction. And this is why they was preaching all of the gloom and doom and the nuclear holocaust and all that bullshit to trigger the people to shift the timeline so that they can bring in y'all Mandala priestess to come in and shift us to a higher frequency. And y'all tied into the daughters of Isis and the Delphi priestess, y'all all begin to sync. And a whole bunch of women is gonna start having menstrual cycles every 28 days on the same day. They're gonna run out of tampons. And that's because y'all starting to sync up. It's gonna be the same time, and it ain't gonna take but like 3 months of that, and then woof, so all of the bullshit gone. And I'm gonna be dancing the jig in the streets during the middle of the Mardi Gras, because it ain't too far off.
This may be a TMI, so I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but well, sorry, but kind of not. But would this explain why in my 50s I'm still having a menstrual period?
Yeah, because some of y'all offset menopause because it's gonna interfere with y'all shift.
I haven't, as far as I know, I haven't gone through menopause.
Right.
I don't have hot
All of the
flashes, and I mean, I've always been
priestesses life
crazy.
right. The priestesses lifespans are already longer. This is
I
why
already knew I was gonna make
yeah.
120. I've known that since I was a kid.
So all of your internal clock is stretched out further to facilitate you living a longer life. That's part of it. Then when y'all, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna remember that you can control your menstrual cycle without going through menopause. You're gonna turn it off, and that's gonna permanently offset menopause. But it's also gonna stop your aging because it's gonna kill the aging hormones. As part of the it's when they be talking about taking on your glorified body. All it is a bunch of priestesses activating the mitochondria to put maximum output. Anybody that didn't do self work, they're not gonna make it. All of the ones that was too selfish and too greedy and was trying to destroy other people, they're not gonna make it. All of the ones that generally had good hearts, even if they did dirty deeds, but they didn't really want to do it, but they might have been forced into a position. I'm gonna fuck you up for you do anything to my mom or my sister or my brother. That don't make me a bad person, right? I'm just a good person that's willing to fuck you up. But when y'all click, if they heart dirty, they're not gonna be here. It's gonna be a flash. It's gonna be like a cameraman flash the flash too close to your eyes. You know what the fuck just happened? And then it's gonna be like 7,000 people in this city has just dropped dead.
Hmm. It's almost like their pineal gland explodes or something.
And then they turn off the power, like turning off a robot. No
They
power?
have to know. They have to know because for them to be putting out movies like that, they have to know.
They do.
Somebody knows.
They do. This is it's cyclic. It's the cycles of the three-dimensional matrix. It's just not new. That's why it's written in they proverbs, ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't none of this new. It's cyclic. It's just another repeat. They normally don't have to bother me with this because it's menial in the realm of the gods. But for the mortals, this was some helly shit. God damn. But in the realm of the gods, this is trivial. All it is about restructuring in order to change the direction of the future. That's it. In order to put it back on the right track, you got to get off the old track. Stop following the old system because it's over with. Now you being flipped onto the other rail at the junction, the crossroads. Ban Samadhi, keeper of the crossroads, right? So as you shift on the railway, now you're riding the rails, the iron, right? Protected by Ogun. So now you see all of the Orishas energy fields converging at the central location in order. It's just cyclic. It's written about because it keep on happening. And if it keep on happening, somebody gonna write about it. But ain't nobody writing about it was there to see it. They only writing about it because they heard it. Somebody
So now
told
they're
them.
putting in movies.
Yeah. Movies, songs, all of it. Paintings, plays. They're still telling the same story in a different way. They all the same story in a different way. And you got so many perspectives to look at the story.
Yeah, but the story gets really ugly.
Yeah, yeah. They did this. Hey, when you're not in human form, there's no such thing as good or bad. In order to have good or bad, right or wrong, you have to be in human form to perceive the concept. The concept don't exist in the realm of the gods. And that's
That
why they
was
created 3D.
that was a learning lesson for me in terms of morality, because I really strive to be very um, um, I have my own moral compass that I stick to,
Mm-hmm.
but I found that segment energy doesn't have morality.
Oh, hell.
Hmm.
Segment gonna fuck you up,
Yeah,
gut you, behead you, slice your balls off.
not me. I was harnessing it, okay? So I felt like that was a shift where it was in defense mode, but then it just became I don't know, you just get to a point where you realize there isn't any morality to a certain extent. Like
When
there's
you living in the realm of opposites, you can't have good without having bad. Morality is man's ability to try to wrap his mind around the concepts of good and bad. And then he's trying to pick what level of compass of morality he's going to use or she to navigate this life. Because once you set a compass, you're going to only move in the progressive direction you're going according to the compass. You're programming your future and your course in order to track your path. You're following your book of life.
yeah, but I think religion has influenced the moral compass. And I think that religion itself is full of a lot of lies. Does that make sense? Or I should say it does on a wide scale as far as the population.
You can,
And it did myself when I was younger. Because I read the Bible so much that
the Bible is very influential in modern moral compass,
right.
but it carries the energy of a double standard with the way that it's presented to the masses, and it's infused into the energy and the nature of the pedophile priest cult that created and run it.
Right.
So that don't mean that a bad person can't tell you how to do something for the good. They might be telling you how to do the greatest good so they can steal the most from you.
Right. Right.
Right? They say an angel of dark transforms into an angel of light to deceive the very elect. That means one who's trying to do his dirt can look like the one trying to do the most right, as long as he can get an opportunity to do his dirt in the end. Right? So in order to do the most good, sometimes you have to do something real bad, like chop that motherfucker head off.
The
And
Hydra.
that tests your moral compass. Because now, are you willing to do for the good what the wicked is willing to do for the bad? Because if you can't match that wickedness with the good in you on the other spectrum, you're going to lose, because you're going to be overwhelmed with the power of the wickedness. The moralism, as Bobby Hemmett called it, is just a way to stifle spiritual energy so it can only present itself in the matters that's been projected to the people as the moral compass. That means
Yeah,
that,
it's a weakness.
yeah. So what it's doing is it's controlling and harnessing how you use your energy. Instead of telling you how to use it, they give you a suggested guideline for that use.
Mine's adjusted myself.
But you
Oh,
gotta have you have to go. The only way you can adjust it is to weigh it against how you feel about it.
feel about what?
The moral, whatever the moral concept that you're dealing with at the time, let's say it's murder. It might be morally repugnant to you to just murder somebody, but it might not be morally repugnant to you to chop a motherfucking head off about your baby, right? Because it's the second law of nature just kicked in to offset what the first law of nature was morally correcting you not to do. But now you got two laws of nature, survival of your child, and that becomes a reversal of that first law of nature that wouldn't allow you to kill just to be killing.
Can I talk about a touchy subject?
Hey, I'm all with the touchy subjects as long as they don't touch the wrong parts.
Okay, so um, how do I want to approach this without stepping on any
Step on
toes? Let's see.
step on their motherfucking toes.
All right, I'm just gonna say it. I grew up in a Caucasian household. My parents, my mother was Irish, and I have a lot of love for my family. Okay, and my grandmother loved me probably more than anybody on the face of this earth thus far. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved her. Okay, she was still racist the day she died. Okay, so I have an inside view of that culture. And then when I look at, if you look at the face of the destruction of the earth, if you look at a lot of the things that have gone wrong, and I'm talking globally in uh, colonization, I mean, all these different points that all of us don't like. When you throw a dart at them, they usually come up with a pale face. And over the years,
Okay,
my
now stop right
tolerance
there.
in this area.
I gotta stop you right there. Do you know why that every time you look in history you see a pale face?
Well, I understand to a certain extent that they are the fall guy on certain things, right? However, the problem that I have is that I finally got to the point a couple years ago where I decided I was no longer going to weigh and measure. And that sounds kind of bitter and harsh, but I really did get to that point where I didn't want to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one of you is going to try to fuck me here? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to try to weed through to find out that, oh, you are a racist in the long end. You see what I'm saying? So I just kind of pulled back from that society where I was actually very intermingled with it. And the reason why I'm saying this is if it gets to a point when I understand at some point we don't have these bodies or whatever, but if the as above, so below is mirroring, why would I extend the higher I get up in terms of planes and dimensions? Does that make sense?
I don't quite understand what you just said. It's red. Say it again.
Okay. When you, because it's surrounding morality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if you'd asked me 6, 7 years ago, any child out here, they should be taken care of. I still believe that. But there's something in the back of my mind now that says, if I were to, like, if you had like 10 children and they all needed a place, they were orphans, I would take all 10 in, right? Like, we're all trying to take care of a village. But part of me would wonder, are some of these people going to harm people that look like me later? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to see long term
That's called
morality.
projecting victimization from a caregiver.
I'm sorry?
It's projected victimization of a caregiver. But not only you taking in orphans, some parents feel that way about their own children,
True.
right? But that's rooted in I don't trust what I'm teaching this child, and I don't trust what this child is learning in order for them to be good people. Therefore, the effect that it's going to have on them, I don't want to be here to suffer the consequences when the village turned on the child and the child burned the village down. You seeing it in advance, so it's making you have an aversion to your participation
Hmm.
because you don't trust what the society has been instilling in the children. Nor do we. The difference is what instead of me trying to change what the society is teaching the children, I start telling them how to look for the truth. And then once I realized the youth had it, I don't care. I don't care. I go about my business now. Because the youth, when they give them proper instructions, exhibit wiser behavior than the ones miseducated, and they the ones that's going to educate the miseducated correctly. So when I see these youngsters writing songs about their history and they're repeating words that I said about where to look for stuff, and then they going and pulling and making video shorts showing what I'm talking about with visuals now, they taking it to the next level. They able to change the fabric of the developmental pace of the next generation. What we got to do is learn to teach the children so that when we turn them loose as adults, they can operate autonomously. They don't need nobody micromanaging their life because we've instilled in them the skills and the character. The character enforces its own morality. Good character is a lot of times you don't have to be worried about what's morally correct or incorrect because you operating from a place of general goodness. That's why I say the noble character betrays the royal blood. And when you realize that what's in you can alter the world and you have that power by altering yourself, that changes the game for everybody involved. You are viewing the paradigm of the old system as you saw it. Your translation is clear based on what you've seen with your eyes. So now going into a new system, the only thing now is to change the mental paradigm and how you view it, knowing that if you have to be raising 7 children from different backgrounds, it won't even matter, because to teach them to be a good person and to treat people the way you want to be treated and show them examples of it throughout life and be the change you want to see, they're going to automatically pick it up and take it to the next level. And you won't have to worry about what kind of adults they're going to turn out to be, because you put goodness in their heart. And I tell the little children that the goodness in their heart is a piece of gold. And the more they do stuff that make their heart glow, make the gold in your heart grow. Be rich when you become an adult. And the stuff that make you feel bad on the inside, that make your gold tarnish. Don't let your gold be in blackened where you can't see the light. It's supposed to always shine. But these people teach you to stop it from shining, and it kills your view of a better future by seeing that wicked past. That's why it's a nightmare. History is a nightmare, right? And the future is the dream. Step out of the nightmare into the dream. Don't live in the past. Use the past to build the future. All the shit that you don't like, don't take that shit into the future. All the good shit, take that with you. Build good on top of goods, you're going to end up with a bunch of good shit. Use what's useful and discard what's waste. Put everything in its proper receptacle. That includes how you deal with people. Some people not going to be your people. It's okay to be cordial, be kind, and to kindly step the fuck away from them. And then some people gonna be your people, and you're gonna be cordial and be kind and all clucked up with them. Birds of a feather flock together. These my people. They vibe like I vibe. Yeah.
So your approach to that is more of a teaching.
Yeah. Babies
What
don't know
about
how to
not
hate until they
teaching?
taught how. Babies don't know how to hate until they taught how to hate. I done seen with my own 2 eyes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if we don't teach them to hate and just teach them to be good people instead, what we gonna raise? Explain to them why we don't tolerate hate. It won't be in them. You got to instill hate in the child and for the hate to grow and for them to grow up to be some fucked up people like they've been doing. That's the fertilizer. Keep feeding them more hate. Give them every situation, condition, and circumstances in which to hate further.
I won't say I've moved completely, but you shifted me a little bit today, so that's
A
good.
little shift is better than no shift at all, sweetie.
True. I mean, I wasn't trying to be bitter or anything, and I've always walked through life where I don't care if someone's racist towards me. It doesn't bother me. They're not gonna stop me from doing anything. But the problem is when I start seeing things at a bigger bird's eye view, there's just too much of it. It's affecting too many people. Does that make sense?
So
So
that means
my
the racist viewpoint was a military strategy rolled out on the people. It's up to the people to break that paradigm. Racism is an illusion. All it is an energy control put into society by the controller. That's all it is.
yeah, but there's people that are affected from the top down,
The,
or from a
the wickedness coming from the top until we switch. The infection that's affecting us is coming from the top. It ain't coming from the bottom. Poor people too
no, I
busy
mean like
being look. Poor people too busy being poor to make somebody else miserable.
so it's just a tentacle of the overall attack, I guess is what you're saying. just one of the many things that they use.
Right. Look, when you got to use education as a weapon too. And the stuff you train people, teach people is the education you give them. If it's used as a weapon, you got to know how to use it, how to wield it as a weapon. In the education that all of us so-called people in America been given, the organic originals, the $5 imposters, the cat's paw that came over the cover for the dirty players, everybody over here, we are being taught the same hatred, the same bullshit. They telling us how we supposed to feel about other people that we don't even know. I can't hate all pale-faced people because I don't know all pale-faced people. But I can
Could that
tell you,
also be energy leaking?
yes, exactly what it is. It's like riding on a flat. You hating people that don't even know you. That's the heights of ignorance. That's common sense to tell you that's the heights of ignorance. You can't be no more ignorant than that. You hate somebody that you ain't never met based on how they look. That's like hating a book before you ever read. I hate that book. That's the worst book in the world. I wonder why somebody writes some BS like ain't never read it. I read the Bible. I can tell you the Bible is an excellent rollout of the entire. You can use it for every aspect of conquest. The military
You
strategy
could never
in there.
know.
Yeah, the military strategy in there. The rearing of the generals to control the future. It's all in there.
The
I ain't mad
Jesus
at it.
story, he is a military leader. I don't see how people don't see that.
But the Jesus story is told to us wrong. It's incorrect in English. It's told to us all wrong. The preachers
Yeah, but if you
deliberately
look at
misleading
it,
the people.
if you look at it and you just read it, that was the weirdest thing that I never understood when I would. Well, I've actually done this with other things too, where I'm like, you did read the sentence, right? Like, I know that he's telling you it means this, but if you read the sentence, or if you can put a picture together, you could see that the Jesus person in there was a militant leader. Sorry, I got that one in high school. Sorry.
Well, it's two different people talking as the character they calling Jesus in the modern Bible. That's why I say it's
That's
written
true.
wrong. You got
Yeah, I have
you
seen a
got
lot of people when I told him you could tell that there was multiple GODs throughout the whole book
well that
itself.
ain't
I mean, it was like,
yeah, I tell you that in Psalms 82:6, even the character in the red says it's not written ye are gods, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that they have two people talking with two different idea sets.
oh
One is
yeah,
one is always talking this love and harmony and flower child generation bullshit, and the other one talking about we about to fuck
pick
this
up your
motherfuckers
arm.
up. I don't give. Go sell off your garments, Bob Swords and Knife. We taking these motherfuckers to war tonight, right?
Van Gogh, somebody.
Yeah. So they got two different characters talking as one person, and this is fucking up the minds of the people because they don't know the original story, so they'll never figure out why is it two different people. They don't even know enough to know that it's two different mindsets just talking in the red. They're not even
Yeah,
that educated.
even even in the Old Testament, you can tell that the Yahweh character changed over time too.
Well, yeah, because a lot of time when they translating as God, it ain't Yahweh, it's Adonai or it's El. Them the whole different personas, but they all translated as God. And if they ain't Lord, it's Baal translates as Lord. It's a couple more of them that translate as Lord. All of the time they saying Lord, they not talking about the same person.
Yeah,
All the
it's a
time they
type.
saying God in there, and when they translating, you think they're talking about Yahweh. They talking about a whole bunch of different gods. The gods of the Moabites was Chemosh, the mighty one.
Oh,
He
how do you
men-
spell
he,
that?
he mentioned in the Bible.
How do you spell that?
Chemosh.
You know, I always thought. I'm sorry. We're just chatting. I always thought that it was unusual you know, like when you go through, when you read the Bible, if you're reading it from a studious standpoint where you're trying to figure it out, I always thought it was strange that the what is it, how do you
Melchizedek,
Melchizedek? Yeah, they only show up twice in the whole Old Testament, but they were very important military times. I was like, who are these people? How come we don't have some more background on this?
that's
So that
because there's
one
other
always intrigued.
books. There's other books that didn't make the canon that it tells you who
What
Melchizedek, the ancient one,
is
was.
it?
They call him in
Which
Islam
one?
Al-Qadar,
Say that
right?
again. I'm
I
sorry.
said that's because there's other books that didn't make the canon.
Yeah, no, but which ones have that order in it?
So the Melchizedek order is the Malachi Z York, or my angel the just. It's the school of the just angels in English in translation, but it's called the priesthood of Melchizedek. The
That
writings of Melchizedek wouldn't make the Bible because they couldn't be used to deceive people. They could only be used to awaken people.
is
So
that those tablets that you had that video on?
um, some of those texts are in in those tablets, the holy tablets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
So
definitely
yeah,
need that
so
one then.
Melchizedek came to Abraham in war. And when Abraham slew the Philistines, he gave him a tenth of his spoils. And that created the standard of what they call in the church tithing.
Which is totally different.
Yeah. What this is where they so called get it from.
Wasn't that also the angel that showed up for Joshua?
Yeah, because Melchizedek is the just angel,
Okay, yeah.
right?
Where he
So,
had to remove his
right.
feet or his
Now, what
heels.
most people don't know is Melchizedek is the angel Michael. And the
Okay.
angels that fall under his command are under the order of Melchizedek. So in the New Testament, and it say, like your Lord Jesus, who was made a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. That means that the character that they call in Jesus was taught by the Melchizedek priest school to be under the command of the archangel Michael in, in order to battle the war on earth that started in heaven. So then they're telling you that character was under that priesthood and assigned the mission to come in under the orders of Melchizedek in order to correct some wrongs that people ain't been seeing.
Would it surprise you if I told you that my second near-death experience, I saw somebody that told me they were Michael?
No, it wouldn't shock me at all. It wouldn't shock me at all because, but you gotta remember your psychic perception is steered by your interpretation of what they gave you in the three-dimensional world.
Yeah, because I don't think they would call themselves that now. At that time, I didn't call myself a Christian, but I was studying Christianity.
But that ain't got nothing to do with the church.
Well, I would have framed it in my mind, though, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
My psyche would have put it in that framework.
Yeah. 'Cause a lot of us think that only Christians and Muslims and Jews talk about angels. Angel mean messenger. The implication is that God sent a messenger. But right there in their book, it say, be careful how you treat a stranger, for many is entertain angels unaware. You entertain people coming to help you in your path, but you've been pouring dirt on them, and you didn't even know they was your angel, your messenger. But most of
Hmm.
us only view it through the light of the lens that the church painted for us. So we be confused about the information that's coming in because what the church has influenced us to perceive has been altering our perception on purpose.
They do a good job on that because they act like some of them are just like they look like the cherubs that they make those little porcelain things out of,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not how they're described. And actually, in the wording, they're not described that way. And then my favorite go-to on that was like, did you miss the Gabriel episode where he shut that man's mouth up? He literally was just like, you can't talk anymore. That's an action. That's I mean, to me, I was like, how can you not comprehend that first of all that they would have some type of power where he could do that, and then he took an action that most people would take offense to. Does that make sense? Like, this isn't some guy that just brought you some love notes. It's
Yeah.
weird.
But most of the time, the ones that have what they call angelic missions, they let you do whatever. They don't give a fuck what you do. They nonchalant with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, they not finna try to tell you, don't go fuck that nigga up. Yep, go ahead, fuck him up. Don't go sleep with that trashy hoe. Go on sleep with her. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Because they only concerned about giving you the message. They ain't concerned about how you live your life. There's
Right.
too many people concerned about other people's opinions that they can't live their own life. And they end up relegated to the gossip circle to spread information. Yeah. All right, sweetie, I'm about to wrap it up now. I think I've been on here longer than
Okay.
you.
Sorry, I was taking up a lot of your time today. I appreciate it. We
That's
went a
okay.
few topics there, so.
Well, I think that you came by a mission. You needed to learn a couple of things. I hope you review this a couple times because you had some.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you
I want to look up that title you mentioned earlier,
had.
too.
Okay. And you can inbox me if you have any questions.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. All right, fam. I'm about spent now. I'm about ready. Got the munchies, and it's time for me to be done chiefing with the chief. Hope I educated y'all on some things and uh, shine a little light on a few topics. I didn't have no plan when I came on here. I'm just gonna let it turn out how it turned out, and it turned out how I did. So with that, I catch y'all later, and I'm finna go find warm me up some red beans and rice my sister brought me.